just think it's amazing. I think it's amazing how you look with wearing a leather helmet back then.
Nice try.
See, then the crewman
He did heavy
did
debts.
76, right? And then David Overstreet ran over.
Overstreet.
Oh, yeah,
Overstreet.
What's the other one that the coach?
Played at OU. Oh, yeah.
Levy.
Lovey Smith was on that team.
Love it. Fire away.
All right, so just talk to me a little bit about the Roger Clemens Foundation, kind of what you're doing here in Amarillo.
Yeah, so the Roger Clemens Foundation started in 1991. We kind of help children's charities, not only locally, but in the 3 cities I played in. We do events usually every year or donations, and it deals with children's charities. I mean, obviously, something I hold close to my heart. My father passed away when I was 9. And so I was raised by 2 strong women, some very strong-willed women, my mother and grandmother. And yeah, we started the foundation a while back. We've gone outside the box a few times, helped a couple families bury their loved ones that couldn't afford to do it. And so love doing it. I mean, we do a lot of it behind the scenes, but some of it's out in front. And then we do some fun events like we're doing tonight, which I knew I was going to be in Amarillo, and seeing Jack and Betty West and my good friend here, Jim West. He came up and watched me pitch last night in Wichita, Kansas. Had a little sellout crowd and raised some money for that area. And on the way back to Houston, we're stopping here to have some fun with the kids and the community.
Oh, you mentioned Houston. One of the stops along your career. You spent the majority of your career in Boston. Was there any favorite city or favorite memories from any of the cities?
Well, you know, I was very blessed. I don't think you recognize it as much as you do after you retire and you really look back on a career, because at the time you're doing it, you're right in the middle of it, and it's your work and it's your passion. But I got to play for 2 of the most historic teams in the history of the game of baseball, pitching at Fenway Park and at Old Yankee Stadium. There's a handful of days that'll go by where the boys will see some old clips of Ted Williams running around the bases, or you see where Lou Gehrig gave his farewell speech, and I worked 5 steps from where he stood and thanked everybody for his career. So being a somewhat of a historian of the game, I don't really know my stats too much. I don't pay attention to them because it's what I did. It's not who I am as a person, but I love doing it. I was very serious. My mother was a historian of the game. She wrote me a little poem about Fenway Park once I was drafted by the Red Sox, because in my college career at Texas, at the University of Texas, I basically had Astros and Ranger scouts following me around. So when I got drafted by Boston, it was like, you know, where am I going here? And so, but I played there, we just talked earlier, did a little thing for the Blue Jays. I loved my 2 years with Toronto. Mr. Beeston was there, and you know, people have to understand the Boston-New York rivalry really wasn't that big my first handful of years in Boston. We were pretty good in Boston. The Yankees, they were on a downturn at the time. The team to beat was the Blue Jays in the late 80s, early 90s. They were a powerhouse. And then, of course, once I went over to New York, Boston got up to par again, and the good rivalry, you know, that's what makes rivalry and things of that nature. Same thing I tell people about being intimidating. They say you're intimidating. Intimidating to me is winning. I don't matter how hard you throw. If you throw 85 and you're a winner, like somebody, when I went into Chicago to face Greg Maddux, Mad Dog wins. And so anytime I faced him, I knew we were going to have a great battle. And that if one of us blinked first, you know, that's pretty much the ball game. So I tell guys, you know, if you're a winner, it's pretty intimidating because, again, what you've done over your body of work. So, but and then I retired, thought I was retired, and I had a bunch of people at home tell me come out of retirement in Houston. And I probably had 3 of my best years of my career in Houston, especially when you figure in my advanced age that I was out there working and trying to be a little bit 2/3 of myself that I was in my younger days. So it was fun.
You've had many great accomplishments in your career. 2 World Series, the first player to ever strike out 20 guys in the game, 7 Cy Youngs. No one's ever done that. Any of them top it? They all just as special? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I was in 6 World Series in 24 years, so, and that meant a lot. That's that's why you play and work hard and do all the stuff that you do to get ready, and just, you know, working your tail off and really practicing perfect. And some of the stuff that I share with kids, and when they ask pointed questions, what, you know, high school kid or college kid, or even, you know, I have my title is I'm assistant to the general manager there in Houston, so we work with guys in spring training, visit with them, but most of it's the mental part of the game. I tell most of the kids, like we talked about earlier today, that most of the guys in AA have the ability to play in the big leagues. We just have to help them along. You're going to fail a lot. I mean, I won 350-something games. I think I lost 180, so you're going to lose some games. There'll be some bumps in the road along the way.
Is there, do you remember the emotions when you struck out the 20 guys in the one game back in 1986?
Well, yeah, I do, because it was a stepping stone for me. You know, the 6-8 months before, I went down to see Dr. Andrews. I had an impingement in my shoulder, and even though mine was somewhat of a minor surgery, any surgery for a pitcher's not devastating, but you have a lot going on in the back of your mind. Will I be able to come back and be a power pitcher? Things of that nature. And Dr. Andrews fixed me up and said that there's going to be days when you start your rehab throwing that it's going to feel like I'm a quack and I didn't fix you, and there's going to be other days you can throw 95 but don't. And I think it was about 6 or 7 months to the day I came back and punched out 20. So it did, to answer your question directly, it did two things. It gave me confidence, but also I showed my teammates for that 1986 season that we went to the World Series against the Mets that I was healthy. And my pitching coach, who still has the major league record for no walks in Bill Fisher's his name, I think it was 89 innings, no walks, that he didn't walk a guy, consecutive innings, which is a feat in itself. In both of my 20 strikeout games, I didn't walk a batter, and they both pointed that out. In the first one, and Dr. Andrews called me and he said, I know you're healthy because you're throwing at that high rate of speed and you didn't walk any guy while striking out 20. Those 20 strikeouts are awesome, but he was proud that there were no walks in that game.
Do you remember the first guy you ever struck out?
I do. It was, that is something I do remember because people have asked me. I know my first batter I faced in the big leagues was Brett Butler. I think I walked him on 4 pitches, and then I picked him off first base. He was trying to steal. I think it was in Cleveland. I think Pat Corrales might have been the manager, and I think he not only tried to steal on me, I think he tried to double steal on me. I think he tried to steal home on me. They were hit and run. He was really testing my nerves. But the first punch out was Hargrove, I believe.
Mike Hargrove?
I believe Mike Hargrove. Is he? Yeah, I think so. There you go, batting gloves or something like that. He got the name Human Rain Delay. Yeah, I think it was. I think it was.
Boy, I tell you what, you better rerun on that one.
Hey, what's the best day that happened in your life?
Besides meeting me, go ahead and.
Yeah, besides Jim West. Let's see. Probably getting that phone call where you got drafted, and then getting married to my wife and having those 4 kids would probably be right up there. I mean, there's your boys and your family and your friends are still the most important. Like I said, people see me out there doing my work, and I'm very serious about it. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to see me on game day. I'm not too friendly, but I just take pride in what I do, my job and everything. And so, after the fact, it's still a game to me. But like I tell people, that's what I did. It's not who I am. But it's easy to say. You're very serious about what you do, especially when you're playing for some big-time owners that want to win worse than you do as a player.
Texas is going to, this spring, the high schools will limit the pitch count or have a pitch count.
Correct.
First time ever, the UIL implemented. What's your thought on that? Is that a good thing?
Yeah, without a doubt, because you're trying to get these high school guys. I try to encourage the kids. I look a little bit further down. I think Dr. Andrews even implement that in the 11, 12-year-old area. He suggested it to the guys there on the board, and they took it and ran with it. I think he set the pitch count just about at every level. We talk about that all the time. I'm going to see Dr. Andrews in about a week, and we'll visit about that too. We do a pitcher's 10, he calls it, and he and I went through pretty much the routine and the shoulder work, which allowed me to throw all the way to last night even. I wouldn't be able to, I'd have atrophy or anything in my shoulder. So he did pretty much all my checkups throughout my career, and he knew I took really good care of myself. And again, that's why my elasticity's there, and I'm able to still be able to throw a ball at 90 miles an hour at 54 years old, and still be able to do it. So.
Is there a number, Roger?
Touched 92 last night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a number you'd like to see for high school? I know everybody's.
Yeah, I mean,
Some people throw
I don't think you need to throw over 90 pitches in a 7-inning game for a high school kid. I think that's plenty, and that's even when you get to the playoffs or whatever. I know high school, their seasons aren't that long unless you go to a state championship. But even the 12, 13, I mean, I can't remember one trophy I won when I was 12. I remember a couple fun tournaments, but I don't remember one trophy. I wanted to get to high school healthy and then have an opportunity to play at the next level. And my situation was I was raised by my mother who worked 3 jobs. So the only way I end up at University of Texas is via scholarship. And the only way I get a scholarship is if I'm fairly healthy to be able to do that. So I was lucky in that situation. And if a guy wants to try minor league ball and big league ball, it's not for everybody. There's only 300 and something of us that can play it at the highest level as far as the pitchers go. So that pyramid gets really thin. So, and I tell kids.
Were you on one in your career pitch counts, or was that you personally?
Yeah, it wasn't talked about as much. You know, it's just like I said, it's the way the world is right now. You know, a punch of a thumb, and you know what we're doing right now in China. You know, you guys can tweet it out, and here we are. So back then, there were guys trying to keep an eye on it. I don't know if they had the extra counters, but in the big leagues, the guys had the little clicker, and they would check with you when you get to about 90 pitches as a starter if you were stretched out on how you feel. Early in my career, the first third of my career, they kept close watch on me because I was young. Middle of my career, not so much. They went by on how I felt. If I told them I'm getting towards the end of my tank, get somebody up. And then this last 5, 6, 7 years, they kept an eye on me real close. About 100, 105 pitches was my limit because they wanted me fresh. We expected to get to the playoffs, and they wanted me fresh into September, October.
Is there a favorite park that you pitched in that you weren't as a home pitcher?
Yeah, there was no question. It was Anaheim. Anaheim's beautiful. I mean, their field is like, you know, we love golf, and this place you could play golf in this place. I mean, they keep their field so manicured. I tease people, you could throw your turkey sandwich in the outfield grass and still eat it. It's perfect, and the area is nice. The weather's nice. It's perfect.
Do you think it's important for players like yourself to come back and give back to the younger generation, kind of like you're doing tonight, come back to the new players up and coming, whether in the high school level?
Yeah, I mean, if you got a star player that's from this hometown or in the area and he has an opportunity to do something, I would encourage them to do that. I mean, you know, I was one of these kids, so I love doing it. I mean, so it's pretty normal for me. I mean, because I enjoy doing it. If I didn't enjoy doing it, I wouldn't do it. If I didn't enjoy, you know, I tell people, a lot of people still asking for your autograph. That's a good thing. I think when they stop asking for your autograph is when you're in trouble. But, you know, we go out, and whether I'm going to play in the Bob Hope or the AT&T or the Lake Tahoe deal, you're amongst fans and crowd. I almost answer to my nickname Rocket more than I do my name. So my boys love it. I think I've shown them how to go about it, but my mother was like that. My mother was very serious about her work and trying to make a living. I mean, you're talking about strong woman is picking up and leaving with, you know, raising 6 kids. And so I teach my kids the same way. When they're on the playing field, I want them to be extremely tenacious, and then when they're off the field, I want them to be the nicest person in the room, but still hold their ground. If they hear somebody talking bad about one of their friends and it's their friends, they should uphold that and you know, speak their mind. You just don't, you know, run and hide under a shell.
You answered a skid mark?
I do, unfortunately. I've turned around on a few of those. A nice name that was. For
And a few other names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few other names in visiting ballparks, yeah. You get used to hearing. You get used to.
Do you mind just talking real quick? And what was that like on the set? You know, and being in that kind of environment compared to, you know, everybody kind of knew who you were at that
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, I've done some fun ones. You know, I did Kingpin. We end up in Reno, Nevada for about 3 nights, and we kind of filmed at really late hours. You know, so we'd get up Woody Harrelson, all of us would play basketball from about 11 to 1, grab lunch and rest, do whatever you're going to do, and we were on like set like at about 10 p.m. Sometimes film till 2 in the morning, and they would go at it. And I stuck around to watch some of the other stuff that went on, and I'm blanking out. What was the movie for that I was in? Me and Jeet did a little scene in the dugout for him. Goose Fraba. What was my
Anger management?
Anger management. We're in anger management together. I was talking to a tennis ball. Jeet didn't show up, so that was his face. And then he ended up filming his in the green room, I think. But I love the Arliss things we did on Arliss. Robert Wool, like I said, he's a great friend and he's funny. You know, he's the pitching coach there, and in Major League or Bull Durham, whichever one. Bull Durham. He went out there and somebody needed a live chicken or something.
Rooster.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we've had fun with them. We've done some fun ones. They're pretty cool. And my oldest one's a movie buff, so I'll always wish he would do something in that area because he loves movies. So.
The rainout scene in Bull Durham, Sheldon was playing AA ball in Amarillo.
Yeah.
And they actually
Right.
did that.
Yeah.
Dave Kingman and him got drunk in a bar here in Amarillo and flooded it.
Yeah.
But it was the last day of the season, but they actually made him play the game.
Yeah.
That's what
I'm sure that he ain't the only one that's done that.
Hey, do you have a favorite staff you pitched with, in your career?
Not really. I mean, most of the guys I played with, like I said, you got to have another guy, another horse go with you and win 17, 18 games if you're going to get in. It was like that. Like I told Dallas last year, when he won 20, somebody I think won 17, 18, or 19. That's how they got in that one playoff game. He pitched a beautiful game against the Yankees, and then they got going again. But it was a lot of fun. Like I said, those 3 years in Houston, we flipped the town from football town to baseball town there and getting to the playoffs in the World Series that 1 year.
Speaking of the Yankees, real quick, they're sellers this year, not
Yeah.
buyers. Does that do your heart bad?
Yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes. You can, you got to make that decision pretty quick. The team's going to dictate that, after when you're getting close to the All-Star break, you can hang on for about another 10 days, see what's up. And but those guys, it's the way it goes sometimes. You got to rebuild, and they're trying to do that. Let Beltran and those guys go, and I've been in a couple situations like that. It's not fun to play out the season that way, but then you bring up some of your prospects that are in AA and see what they're all about.
What's the toughest hitter you ever faced?
Most of the tough hitters I faced were contact guys. Not anyone particular. We played 24 years. A handful of guys are going to have your number or hit you better than the next guy, and you're going to have a ton of strikeouts against guys that are big power hitters too. So I tell them most of the power hitters I have to, most hitters I'm going to give you one pitch to hit, and if you miss it or fouled off, I'm going to get you. The power guys, if you miss and they're just kind of one zone, because they're swinging for power, so they're going to have a bigger swing miss area. Guys, contact guys, especially in the smaller ballparks, the guys in the big leagues, for the most part, can put wood on a bullet. They're that good. And you make a couple tough pitches, 0-2, 1-2, and they foul you off in the stands, they get a couple more at bats against you, a couple more pitch balls to them. But you just don't want to get, especially when I got in the National League, you don't want to get, and your leadoff guy, your second hitter, guys that are good contact guys, you don't want to get an 11, 12 pitch at bat with those guys, because then you're not sniffing a complete game. You're going 8, maybe 7, maybe 6. They might have to pinch hit for you in the 6th inning if you get in a couple of those. Just add your pitch count up. So normally, like last night, I was trying to throw the ball right down the middle and let those guys put it into play and get out of there. See if I could get get to the 3rd inning where the fans would enjoy it, because they all came out to. I knew they were coming out to watch me. My biggest concern last night was my health. Like I said, my arm felt good. I was just worried about my legs. I didn't want to go out there and get hurt after 7 pitches or push off too hard. So because I know they all took time out of their day to come out there and watch us play.
What's your message for the young pitchers tonight? What will it be, basically?
Yeah, I'll listen to if they got some questions. There's some high school kids out there or younger. I'll just show them. I'm going to show them some things on the rubber that'll help them with their balance point and delivering strikes after strikes. That's why I pitched in high school. I had 2 guys. I was the 3rd best pitcher on my high school team. I had 2 guys in front of me that were that looked like they were going to go on the draft. One of them was a lefty that threw 90, and one of them was a right-hander in high school. He's a 19-year-old senior at the time. He threw about 92. So all the scouts would come watch them, and then when they would wet the bed, coach would bring me in, and I was about 85 and throwing strikes. So he'd bring me in there. I had a little curveball, and but like I said, I was a 16-year-old, barely 17-year-old senior. So, but
Teeing it up tomorrow, a little golf. How's your golf game?
Love golf. I love golf. I wish I could get better. Wish I could get better, and it's great for me because you guys got a local legend here, who. And I'm retired. I'm not making any money now, but golf's tomorrow. I'm so happy about that because it's my way to make a living right now.
Why are you staring at me? Why are you staring at me?
You guys want to turn your cameras around? He's down there. That wallet he got looks like a thigh pad right now, but it won't after tomorrow.
I'll guarantee
It'd be a little light. If y'all hadn't turned around and look at his backside, it'd be a little thinner after tomorrow.
Yeah, whatever, save it.
All right, as a fan, I have to ask, going back to Game 2, 2000 World Series, Mike Piazza.
Yeah.
What through your head when the bats come flying at you?
Well, when you bust somebody's bat, I think I was hovering around about 94 miles an hour, and then when he stepped in, they said my pitches were about 97, 98, 98. And when you shatter a bat in about 4 pieces and a fear of it comes at you, as you can tell by my reaction, I went down and fielded. I tell everybody it was really good form. I fielded that thing, and then of course I didn't want it out there, so I crow hopping on deck. They obviously the media made a big deal out of it.
Right.
Fox showed it like it was across his shoe tops. He was probably the length of the room from it.
Right.
But I get it. They made a big deal out of it. If I wanted to throw it at him, I would have thrown it at him.
Those
But
are my favorites.
yeah.
That's not what you told me. You said you would have thrown it through me.
Yeah, well, I'd have thrown it through him. Yeah, the best of that thing, I think Halloween wasn't much around the corner. There was a big Halloween party in New York City. My buddy threw one, and he made me a judge with along 2 other players, and we got there late on purpose to let all the costume people get ready and get in there. And there's a guy about 10th in line outside the door waiting to get in. He was dressed in a Mike Piazza uniform all together. He had a ball stuck to his helmet and a bat through him. I go, you win. Whatever the first base prize is, you're going to win tonight.
Game changed much to you?
Not really. The mound is supposed to be 11 inches, so and we'll talk about that tonight about feeling tall on the mound and stuff. It's not in high school or college. There's some pretty tall mounds. The mound I was on last night was higher than 11 inches. And but for the most part, the major league mound is supposed to be about 11 inches. Back early in the days when the pitching took over and everything, the Gibsons, those guys, they had 15, 16-inch mounds. So like a Tom Seaver, you could drop and drive and still create an angle and not have the ball flatten out and playing on you. But pitching was so dominant because you could just lean down on hitters and create angles. I think all the ERAs down, so they lowered the mound. Then once you do that, you get guys coming out with level shoulders and setting flat and working to the plate level. You lead with your elbow, and I'm pretty quite certain that's why the guys put a lot of stress on their elbows these days. If you get tired, your mechanics get off a little bit. Again, I can go right back to 12 hours ago when I was on the mound. I was trying to repeat my delivery, kick my leg up the same way. I just haven't been practiced enough. I mean, it's something I threw like 2 or 3 bullpens before I got there, and they were just like bullpens were. I was just working on getting my leg up and trying to get my body sore so I could go out here and do this. It's not something I would suggest for every 54-year-old to try and do. And so that's always been good. My mechanics have been really strong over my career. I practice perfect. I don't have to throw a long bullpen. I don't have to have a long workout. I make them quality, not quantity, and I get it in and out of there. And like I said, mentally is the biggest part of the game. Physically, nobody's going to outwork me. That's how I got there. Then second is the mental part of the game. The mental part of the game, I feel I'm going to crush you. Mentally, I'm just going to beat you up no matter what with the mental part of the game. And then last part of the 3 sets comes in is your emotions. In 24 years, I've shown my bad side a few times where I've gotten out there being into it too much. And it cost me a couple games. I got run out of a few games, but like my mom said, you care. It shows that you care. I care about what I do. I care about my work, and you're going to have disagreements and confrontations, but that's my work. So I care about what I do, but the emotions come into play. I would think about my grandmother being sick. I'd be real lethargic. I didn't have it in the bullpen, for instance, in Houston, and then my warm-up session was absolutely terrible, and I'd walk out to the gate, and Awesomeness, Brad and I would walk out, or Jorge Posada and I would walk out in Yankee Stadium. He's like, whew. He like, what do you mean? Get somebody start warming up behind me right now, And I said, just give me a few pitches out on the main mound with the 50,000 people and see if I can get this thing going a little bit, get my adrenaline going. But I had some great backstop. You don't do it alone. I had some fantastic catchers that had great hands. I threw a heavy ball. I throw a real heavy ball to where, I tore ligaments out of one of my guys' thumbs when he tried to catch my 2-seamer and keep it there and hold it there. That ball's just heavy coming in, and you'll see black and blue marks even on my son's hand. He came out the other night. He caught a couple deep that I threw that come in there pretty heavy. And but I've had some great guys that pay attention to detail, and I think that's the best thing. Like I said, it's great if you can hit a ball 400 feet or throw 95 miles an hour. It's great, but I need a smart player playing behind me and paying attention to detail.
How important is leg drive to a pitcher? Because there's guys like you and Roland Ryan and Tom Seaver. They used Tom Seaver's name would go.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Yeah, the kind of drop and drive days are over. I mean, with these flat mountains, you don't want to sit down too much. Even the guys that have that little bent leg sit down when they come in their stretch. Sinker slider guys are okay to do that, but you're trying to create angles. You're trying to get that ball instead of being on a flat plane to go down a little bit. So, but legs are super important. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Like I said, I pitched many games where my elbow and shoulder hurt, but once my legs, gave out, or my back, there was chum in the water for sure.
Yeah.
So you went 3 innings last night?
I got to the third inning. I think I got the 3-6. I got 8 outs, and they came out and wanted me to go see if I was going to go the 9th. The only thing that didn't happen that was happening was when I told him that I knew I was done. Kobe knew, my son did, and he said, "Stay right here." And then I don't know what Toby was doing, but the other guy came out. We were going to have Toby Keith come out to the mound and take the ball from me. But I warmed up to his song, and they were playing his song. So I really appreciate Toby and Jim and everybody taking time to come watch. That makes it fun for me when my friends and family are there because they see the work that goes into it behind the scenes. It's all fun and games, but I spent some days at Memorial Park running those 3 miles. That's not a lot of fun either. So.
You developed a split later.
That's good stuff, man. Thanks.
Was there any, like you were trying to throw a knuckleball and you're just like, man, there's no way.
Yeah, no knuckleballs. The split I learned really early in my career from Mike Scott, who pitched for Houston. I was in Boston. Scotty pitched for the Astros. Mike learned it from Roger Craig, and so I asked him at one of our golf tournaments to show me the grip. And so I saw the grip and I messed with it. I didn't use it early in my career. I used it towards the middle. It became a devastating weapon for me. And I tell guys, I only used it probably in a 110 pitch game. I might have featured it 20, 22 times. But when the Sports Center and everything got even bigger, they would show your highlights. So you'd see 6, 7 strikeouts with it. So it became ingrained in the hitter's mind. They would see that split as a put away pitch or a pitch that you're going to clean somebody up with. So it's a devastating pitch for 2 reasons. You see fat wrists on fastball 95, and the split comes out the same way. Breaking balls, you see hitters read, thin wrist and spin. So.
One last thing, Roger. What would it mean to go in the Hall for you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have it. I mean, it's so far past now. I mean, it's something that I didn't play to make it to the Hall of Fame. If they want to vote on it, people vote on it, so you have no control of it. I mean, my numbers speak for themselves, and like I said, I got a bunch of stuff there now. A bunch of I don't know. They probably got 20 pieces of my stuff there now. So
Yeah.
Whatever they want to do. But I've never understood, even with somebody like Biggio or somebody that doesn't get in, either they're a Hall of Famer or you're not. I don't know why you got to wait 10 years. So you're either good enough to be in there, whatever is good enough to be in there, whatever you're voting on. But if you made somebody a little angry or they don't want to vote for you and it makes them happy not to vote for you, then
So
go
be it.
for it. Yeah.
Hey, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank
You
you.
bet.